And welcome back to another episode of Paint Society. My name is Brian, and this is a channel where we're really inspiring you to get outdoors and work on your project, whether it's in your garage or, well, if it's in your personal shop. Get a lot of knowledge and tips. Now, we have a beautiful Acura Integra Type R. Now, this is a classic from my time, which is why I'm enjoying so much working on it. Now, we're refinishing the hood and blending it into the fenders. Now, this job is a little bit different because it's single stage, and we're gonna be blending base coat into it. Let's take a closer look. Now, we've been working on the hood, and it took a lot of work. We actually first got it in a yellow primer, which is a color build, and then we blocked the whole entire hood down. We're using our guide coat in 320 grit. We found a couple areas that needed a little bit of body filler, so we filled those, and then we re-primed it with our yellow color build, and that's exactly where we're at now. Though this particular hood was already repainted in base and clear. Well, the car is 20 years old, so there's some parts of the car that have been repainted, but it looks phenomenal. So the fenders actually are still in single stage. Now, how do we tell they're still in single stage? Well, we take a piece of sandpaper and we can take it right to the surface itself, and if it comes off yellow, just like it is right there, that means it's single stage. So single stage basically is a mixture of clear coat and base coat. And I know your next question, well, can I just get my base and clear and mix it together and make single stage? Absolutely not. I'm not exactly sure what the components are that go into single stage, but basically single stage is used for more fleet vehicles like buses, transit, planes, that type of thing that just want to make a quick job. Now, in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of these Hondas were painted in a single stage. I know Champ White, this is Phoenix Yellow, as well as some of the other colors were in single stage. Now, single stage doesn't last as long. Now, I know your next question. Your next question is, why don't you just repaint it in single stage? Yeah, well, that would make sense, except for I don't know how to. And really, I think it's a little bit much harder of a technique to blend single stage. See, you can blend base coat and clear coat really well. Plus, our system doesn't have single stage, and well, to go and get it mixed, it's gonna be a big headache. And a lot of parts of this car already are painted in base and clear and blended, and they look phenomenal. So we're taking some of that old age paint and the new age and putting them together, and well, we're gonna have a beautiful finish. Let me show you what's going on the fenders and how we sand the fenders to make sure we can still preserve that single stage finish. So this is the yellow color build that we've been working with on the hood. This is primer because we had a couple chips and little dents here and there that we fixed. Very minor. This is our golden area. We do not want to scuff this aggressively. We want to use a 800 to 1000 because, guys, if we burn through this paint, well, we're going to have to paint the door, and if we burn through the paint on the door, we have to carry it all the way around the car. So this is prime real estate right here. I'm going to show you what we use to scuff up this area. Before we scuff up that blend area, we have some guide coat, and the guide coat comes in two types. It comes in a powder and it comes in a can form, and I like the powder because you can really keep it where you want, and it gets into those deep scratches and we can see what we're doing. And then we have our K600. Now, you don't need to use these products, but they are in the description and they do work very well. But basically, it's a 600 grit, but this one cuts at a 320 cutting speed. So it's gonna cut a lot quicker, and we have our block as well. And since it's not a lot of heavy body work, this is gonna sand fairly well. That's why we're starting with the K600, because it really went on smooth. If this was an aggressive, really high build primer, then we would start with maybe a 320 and really kind of cut it up first. But this will work. If you find it's not cutting well, then step it down a little bit, maybe to a 320 first, and kind of knock off that top layer, and then you can come over it. I like to personally hand sand first and then finish with the DA, just because we can see what we're doing and we have a lot more control. Now, for this area, we want to be very cautious. We're going to be using a durable flex hand pad by 3M. I like these because they're thinner and they cut a lot better than the older ones. Now, these will be able to get into all the little contours, and this is equivalent to around 800 grit. And basically, we just kind of want to rub it on the surface. We don't want to dig in too much. Just rub it on the surface. We're just trying to create adhesion here. Remember, this is our blending area. This is where the paint is going to be blended into, and we want to make sure we don't go too far, okay? So we want to make sure we take care of this area by just scuffing it up. We just want to blend. See? Yellow's coming off. That's single stage. On this side, we've already done our K600. Now we just need to use our scuff pad once again. Now, we're gonna have a lot more area here because we only had a little bit of damage right in this area. And remember, the same thing, just lightly. We've already kind of scuffed up this area. beforehand. It seems like a lot of you guys were interested in seeing how we do it. So we're gonna take our time and show you the best of our knowledge. How do we do this? And this is something you don't wanna be afraid of, okay? But you need to have the knowledge behind it before you start digging into the paint and ruining something. The plastic off this car, you can see how stunning it is. It is a absolutely beautiful Phoenix yellow ITR. Now, I did do a little bit of research on this car where I used some compound and I tested out what single stage, what is base. And this whole area is base and clear. We rubbed some compound on it and found out that, you know, this has a white residue and the other side, which I'll show you in a moment, has a yellow residue. So this was repainted at one point. You can tell the texture is a touch different. The bumper I had repainted a while back, and that was single stage, and I just kind of blended it in. And I did the lip kit on here. I did the side skirts, and then I actually had painted the bumper as well. It was a new bumper, and we did the front lip on there. This has been clear broad since. So we already did previous paint work on the vehicle. Now over here on this side, this is all original paint. Single stage all along here. The roof is single stage. The spoiler is single stage. And the trunk is single stage as well. So this car has a mixture of both, but in the end, all that matters is it looks like it's one color. And that's just what we're gonna do here. We're gonna pull this into the body shop now and get ready to get it masked up. We got the car in the booth. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna spray just the fenders and we're gonna spray the hood off the car. Now, if this car had a panel like the door being replaced, I like to paint those parts with the car. Now, since this is a solid color and it's the hood, well, we know we can get away with a good color match doing it off the car. But anything metallic and anything on the side panel, I really prefer to do it on the car. So we're gonna get this thing masked up, and then we'll bring the hood in here. We'll finish that up on the prep, and we'll start spraying. And you saw we just got the color all mixed up. We mixed up 20 ounces. This really takes a long time to cover. So we might need multiple layers. Now, since we primed in yellow, we might get out of it in 3, but I mixed up just a little bit extra, and well, we can keep it on the shelf for use later on down the road if we have any extra. So here's the deal. Everything's been wiped clean. We did a little bit extra masking. This gentleman that owns the car has a lot of money put into this car, and we don't need overspray on parts that don't need to be on it. So we started off with plastic paper, and then we went over it with plastic once again. And you know, if you look into here, you can see that we even removed the fender liner as well, and we're able to get full coverage everywhere. Now this area is going to be covered with our Phoenix yellow into about here, and of course the tops of the fenders so that the paint will match the hood. The same thing here. Now inside of the fender there was a hard line. It's a double edge line here. So we just ran some tape over that just so we can have a nice clean edge here, and we broke it off at the natural seam. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put some paint down on the fender first, and then we'll go over to the hood and we'll lay down the paint on that. The gun of choice once again is gonna be the DV1 because of the low overspray and just puts the paint down really nice. We're running around 14 to 15 PSI. our first coat of base is down on the fenders, and you can see it's matching really well. It's actually covering very well as well. So what we're gonna be doing here is I'm gonna give it another couple coats, and I think we'll be fine. After the fenders are all painted, we're gonna go ahead and attack this hood. It's all ready, it's been prepped out, we got it all done. And this is in that yellow primer that we just sanded down. So we'll go ahead and put the same amount of coats that we put on the fenders and put it on the hood, the same exact everything, so it all matches. Finished laying down the third coat of base, and we have the same color on our hood as we do on our fenders. Now we're gonna get the clearing. We'll show you the clear we use on these vehicles that are a little bit nicer, but we step it up and we use a little bit of a nicer clear, and this stuff has a beautiful gloss. We're gonna be using the Walcom HTE 1.2. This is a motivated painter's edition, and man, this gun is awesome. I like the 1.2 because, man, it just puts it on nice and thin, less of a chance of getting runs. The booth now set at 90 degrees. That way we got metal temp up a little bit, have a smoother finish. You don't have to worry about the paint starting to flow off the panel because it is a little bit colder outside in South Florida. It's 70 degrees. So we got the ITR all back into the shop, and we're gonna start the assembly process. Now, this car probably could use a full paint job, remembering that there are a couple different shades here and there because it's been painted before, and we only did a blend on the fender. So we didn't do a blend from the fender to the door, so keep that in mind that, you know, as the car ages, the color will change a little bit, and with all the multiple paint jobs on it, there's gonna be some slight difference here and there. So that's just part of the game. Until this car is completed and painted all together at once, it will never ever be perfect. And you know, those plastics, they just reflect differently as well. So that's a part of the game. I just want you guys to keep that in mind when you are painting as well. Be upfront to the customer and explain things ahead of time, so when they get their car back, they know what to expect. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you want to support this video, head over to the paint.society.com. A lot of awesome merch just like this. Also, make sure you check out our Instagram, paint.society. This is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it, it's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next one.